Hello everyone, this is Gary from Fantastic Fundas, and today in this lecture we are going to cover four topics. And number one is the famine of 1943. Number two is the CR formula, and number three is the Desai-Liaqat Pact, and number four is the Gandhi-Jinnah talk. These are the four things we will be talking. Now, I'll also talk about that why these happen here. Now, these are things you need to focus on. Why is this particular thing being talked about here? What is the relation of this thing to the earlier lecture? It is these linkages which will get you marks in the paper, because these will help you make your answer stand out, easily understandable. Okay, now let's begin with the famine of 1943. Now, the question is that what is the importance of this famine? You see, we were already very angry against the Britishers, especially after and during the Quit India movement. But the Quit India movement also could not yield result, so people were angry. And the famine of 1943, it further contributed to the anger of the people because of the famine. What had actually happened, that you know this thing, that the world war is going on, second world war is going on in 1943. It's already on. Now, when Japan, it attacks the Japanese take control of Burma, and they defeat British very thoroughly in a humiliating defeat after the British of the British. The Britishers do not help India at all. So people are again very angry, and because of this, the temper in general was at its worst. So the temper of the people is at worst level because of the poor British attitude after losing Burma. And to add to this anger, there happens a famine in 1943. Let's not say that to add to this, because of the famine, this anger rises again. And why so? Because in this famine, 30 lakh people died. 30 lakh. Some estimates say that 50 lakh people died in one famine. Can you imagine the number? 50 lakh people is a very, very huge number. Now, why were people angry about this famine? Because this famine, it was a man-made famine. Yes, there were some natural reasons also, but it was largely a man-made famine. Which man? The British man. The Britishers, they were responsible for this famine. How? Let's see how this famine happening, and what is the relation of this. You can see this image over here of Japanese and Burmese fighting between them. Simply put, Japanese and Britishers fighting over Burma. Because when this war was happening, let's clear the screen and look ahead. So the topic we are actually doing is the causes of the famine, and of course I will be sharing the relation of that with the Japanese British war. So whenever wars happen, now I've talked about this earlier also, wars can never be fought empty stomach. You need food to feed armies. So huge amount of food was diverted to diverted food to the armies. And who was hungry? It was the Indians. And because of famine, already there was scarcity of food, and on top of it, it is being transferred to the army of the Britishers. And because of war plus the economic reasons, the rice import actually India had to import the rice from Burma. But so the rice import from Burma and plus Southeast Asia, because of the wars and the British policies, this had stopped the import of the rice. So you are not importing also, and you're not producing enough also. What will happen? People will die of hunger. And then, thirdly, Britishers grossly mismanaged the famine. The people died. British did not bother, did not care much, and plus there was also issue of deliberate profiteering. That when Britishers were involved in their profits, in their motives only, and now the famine is so severe, the people are dying, and what was the reaction of the Britishers to this famine? Actually, reaction of British to famine. Now, this was very poor. I'll give you an example. In fact, it said that it found no political expression. So people are again more angry now. British are not realizing it probably here, but people are very angry. And Winston Churchill says that okay, I've heard that there's a famine, and if food is so scarce, that why hasn't Gandhi died yet? This is the quote unquote Winston Churchill. Why has not Gandhi died yet? This is what he's asking. I mean, there is no relation about Gandhi dying and the famine of 1943, and he said that means famine is not so severe, so he cannot do much about it. And so basically, the reaction of the Britishers to the famine was very inhumane, and the famine has been represented in a lot of forms of literature also. Lot of paintings have also been made. For example, there was a Bengali play written on this famine. Bengali play by the name of the author as the Bijon Bhattacharya. So it just might be asked somewhere in some exam that name of the play or the author of the play related to the Bengal famine of 1943. Here you can have the look at the two pictures from the famine of 1943. Now the question arises that what is the importance of understanding the famine of 1943? What role did it play in the Indian history? That you must know to write your mains answers very well. You never know, it might be asked in your prelim exam also. So its importance is that the number of people that died, number of deaths, and the anger it generated in the people against the Britishers. And you of course know that how this anger was just continuation of the Quit India movement, which was also by now failing. Now, what I'm going to say, listen to this very, very carefully, because there is hardly any book, I have not read it anywhere, you will rarely find it, which will tell you this what I'm going to share now. And you must use this to your knowledge. Everything in today's lecture, whether it was the famine or the upcoming topics of C Rajagopalachari Plan or Desai-Liaqat Pact or Gandhi-Jinnah talks, everything should be linked to the Quit India movement. Whether the question is on the famine or on the C Rajagopalachari Plan or Gandhi-Liaqat Pact or Gandhi-Jinnah talks, you should be able to link all these topics to Quit India movement. And whenever the Quit India movement is asked, you should be able to link Quit India movement to these topics. Whenever the question is being asked, if you write these points, you will get a very great score like nobody has got ever. I can assure you this, because it is this analytical ability which will take you ahead. Regarding the famine, I've already shown you. Now let me do it the same thing with the C Rajagopalachari formula also. Let's have a look. CR plan. I'll call it this C Rajagopalachari plan. it can be asked, there's a very high probability this is one part of the history, modern history of India, which has not been touched in much detail by UPSC so far. So it just might be done. You see, you already know one fact. Here you can see this image from the past lecture where what has happened, that Japanese are attacking Burma. You can see this image here. And once Japan controlled Burma, there was every possibility that they will attack India. Now I'll just zoom in this image. Look here. What can happen after Burma? They can enter India. You can see this word India over here. I'm trying to zoom into it so that you can clearly see this word. So you can observe that they can clearly enter India once they have defeated Burma. Now, if they have defeated Burma, then the next thing that can happen is that they can attack India, as I just showed you in the zoomed image. Now, if Japanese attack India, then in that case, we are not capable enough to fight them. We are under foreign rule. So, we will need help of the Britishers. Understandable? Quite logical thing. Now, I'm trying to explain you how CR plan came into existence. Okay, so we will need help of the Britishers. So at this time, one of the person who was not in jail, who was not arrested because of the Quit India movement, his name was Chakravarti Rajagopalachari. Now C Rajagopalachari starts thinking this very idea that we will need help of Britishers. This is what C Rajagopalachari is thinking. So he suggests a plan. Okay, now what is this plan? That plan has been called as C Rajagopalachari Plans, or simply put CR plan. Let's see what are the steps that CR takes for having the support of the British, because now he wants the support of the British. For this, he says that we will need the constitution of our own, so that we have our own powers. And constitution is possible only when Congress and Muslim League are friends with each other. Now, in April 1942, Madras presidency was attacked. Okay, now I'll link these two facts, that that constitution and when Madras presidency is attacked. But the British governor in Madras presidency, rather than helping, he asked the people to leave Madras. And because of this, C Rajagopalachari is very angry. And then he brings a resolution in the Madras Legislature Party of All India Congress Committee that if need be, to protect Madras, we will concede to the demand of Pakistan by Muslim League. The Congress will agree to this demand. Now this is the proposal that C Rajagopalachari brings with him. When he introduces this proposal, what happens, that everyone in the Congress starts opposing that. What are you saying, Mr. Rajagopalachari? You are saying we should create Pakistan? We should agree to the demands of Muslim League? How is that possible? So we can say that Congress showed him a red flag. And because of this, now because nobody is happy with this, C Rajagopalachari is left alone. And what happens, on the advice of Mahatma Gandhi, C Rajagopalachari resigns from the Congress, and thus he does not take part in the Quit India movement, and thus he is not arrested. So that is how there are people who are not taking part in the Quit India movement. We are discussing what these people were doing. So if anybody asks you a question, Quit India movement, you should be able to understand that how Quit India movement, there were certain people who could not participate in the Quit India movement, because of various circumstances. For example, the C Rajagopalachari's circumstances I just explained to you. So, but they were also nationalist in their thought process, so they also wanted to support the nationalist movement. And visualizing the future, C Rajagopalachari proposed his Rajagopalachari formula of agreeing to the Muslim League's demand of Pakistan. Now, let us see what was this CR formula. The CR formula that was proposed by C Rajagopalachari. So the formula proposed by him was, number one, the main points of it were that as I said, Congress would agree to the demand for division of the country and acceptance of the Pakistan as per this formula. But under what condition this was being proposed, that also has to be kept in mind. Number two, Muslim League will need, not everything will be done by the Congress accepting the Pakistan demand, and in turn Muslim League will cooperate with the Congress in forming a provisional government at the center, because the aim is to get the control so that we can handle Japanese when they come. So Muslim League will cooperate with the Congress to form the provisional government at the center. Number three, when the war ends, the entire population of Muslim majority areas, okay, so in Muslim majority areas, entire population, not just Muslims or just any particular religion, the entire population of the Muslim majority areas, it will, whether it's in the any part of the country, whether it's the northwestern part or the northeastern part, both the sides, they would hold a plebiscite. So this was mentioned. Now, what will be the plebiscite what this will be about? That whether to form or not to form a separate sovereign state, or simply put, whether separate sovereign state, which was later on called as Pakistan, should be formed or not. Now, but this clause is conditional, and the condition is that if the plebiscite supports the partition of the country, then the agreement will be made jointly. There will be few compulsory things which will be joined. And what will be these compulsory things? Number one would be to have common defense, even if the country is divided. Common defense. Number two, common commerce, so you can trade between them and us. Number three is that communication would be common between two. And number four is all other essential services were made common to the both the countries if partition is accepted. Now, when I read this for the first time, my immediate reaction was that this would be a great idea to follow. Well, I can say that these are the few lines on which we can proceed to solve the Indo-Pakistan problem of today. We can start thinking of something common communication. In fact, a move was also made in 2016, probably only when we thought of the idea of a SAARC satellite. So such things will bring the countries closer. But the situation today is opposite as was proposed at the time of CR. That time country was to be divided. Now today we are already divided. So that's one thought, one idea. If anyone asks you what are the solutions to Indo-Pakistan problems, one of the ideas can be these. And the fourth condition of this fourth important point under the CR formula was that the terms of the CR formula, these 1, 2, 3 terms, these will be operative only if England transfers the power to India. Otherwise, what is the point of dividing the country unnecessarily? That Britishers also don't go and we make a Pakistan also. So this was the CR formula. A lot of people criticize CR formula that look, Rajagopalachari proposed the partition of the country, but the facts are very complex, and this was the complexity explained to you. Now, I have a question for you. This is the CR formula. Do you think Jinnah would agree to this formula ever? Do you think he would be happy to accept this formula? Of course not. He would have a lot of objections to it. Now, can you imagine the kind of objections Jinnah would have to this? Let's write it. Jinnah's objections. What you can do meanwhile, in your copy, you can imagine keeping in mind the CR formula, that what kind of objections Jinnah can have. Use this imagination. This is your intellect. Use this to write answers. You don't have to remember everything. So imagine what kind of objections Jinnah would have and write them down. Now, let's see. I'll share. Uh, Jinnah said, first of all, Jinnah was very happy. He says, Congress has finally agreed to the two-nation theory. He totally changed the interpretation of the CR formula. He said this is the acceptance of two-nation theory by Congress. But if you listen to the last 5 minutes of this lecture, you will realize that nowhere it is the acceptance of two-nation theory by the Congress. In fact, CR formula was rejected by Congress. And Jinnah said, even if it is not, then Congress should agree to the two-nation theory. Only then I will accept the CR formula. Second, plebiscite. As I told you that in plebiscite everyone will vote. What will Jinnah want? He will want to win the elections in the plebiscite. So he would want only the Muslims to vote. Number 3, CR formula said that we will have a common center. Jinnah said, what common center? When country is different, how can there be one center? Two countries mean two centers. Jinnah started saying that Congress should also support the CR formula, because he knew CR himself alone cannot do much without the support of the Congress. And Jinnah said, you can keep CR formula, you can keep whatever. I want rights now. I cannot wait for country to get free. I cannot wait for anything. He said rights now, independence later. I cannot wait for the Britishers to free India. It has to be given right now. But it was not just Jinnah who objected to it. There were so many other people who rejected to the idea of CR. For example, Veer Savarkar did not like the idea of the partition of the country at any cost. So he opposed the idea of the partition without taking into consideration, or even he took into anything into consideration. He was not ready at any cost to accept the division of the country. And then there was E.V. Ramaswamy. He came in support of the CR formula, because he said if Pakistan be created, we can also create our own Dravid Nadu out of India when there is freedom. So he started taking his own interest into it, and he wanted to make Dravid Nadu out of it. So you see, in ultimate analysis, you will realize that everyone is coming out of his or her own interest. CR came in the interest of his that was the interest of the country at that time. EVR came for his own interest. Veer Savarkar thought different. Gandhi thought different from the Congress at this time, because Gandhi was supporting C Rajagopalachari at this time. So that is the story of the C Rajagopalachari plan. Now, I told you that C Rajagopalachari could formulate a plan because CR did not take part in the Quit India movement. Was there anybody else who also did not participate in the Quit India movement? If CR did not participate, he did some work, made a plan. And if there is somebody else who also did not take part in Quit India movement for whatever reasons, that person will probably also come with some action to save the country at that time, because everyone was fighting for the freedom of the country. So one of these people, like CR, his name was Bhulabhai Desai. And he comes up with what is known as Desai-Liaqat Pact. Okay, Desai-Liaqat Pact. Q. Now, CR plan was, we know that out of CR plan that Jinnah did not agree. When the topmost leadership of a party, that is Muslim League here, does not agree, then what do you do? Suppose if you want to explain to the present government of India something, the Prime Minister of India something, and he does not agree, what do? You will probably go to somebody junior to him. You might go to the Home Minister or so on, some cabinet minister. So, what Bhulabhai Desai did, rather than going to Jinnah, he went to the second in command of Muslim League, and his name was Liaqat Ali Khan. And very interestingly, we were able to convince Mr. Liaqat Ali Khan to give up the demand of separate nation. And Liaqat Ali Khan agrees that we do not need a separate country if there is an assurance that the Hindus and the Muslims, there would be parity between them in the Council of the Ministers. Council of the Minister. Very interesting. We could convince him to this extent. Now, so Bhulabhai, Desai-Liaqat Pact, I'll call it a DL Pact, Desai-Liaqat Pact. What are the provisions of it? So few of the provisions, mainly there were two. Number one was that there would be, as per the demand of Mr. Liaqat, because you're ultimately saving the country from getting divided. All these things can be looked into later on also. If country is being saved by satisfying somebody, then why not save the country? Was the thought of Bhulabhai Desai. And he said that, okay, fine, I agree to Mr. Liaqat's demand of equal nominations at center for both the parties, Congress and Muslim League. And number two that he agreed to was that 20% of the minorities in the central legislature. This demand was agreed to. Now, to this demand, uh, no one else agreed. No one agreed. They said, how can you give Muslims so much majority? This is being, you are trying to make minorities happy, but how you cannot ignore the interest of the majority. And in any case, the country will be equal. How can the elections be biased in favor of the minorities? Now, that was the negative of the Desai-Liaqat Pact. But not everything was bad about it. The positive that came out of the Bhulabhai Desai Liaqat Pact is that it sort of create a happiness, a parity between Congress and the Muslim League, which had a far-reaching impact. Because finally they could agree to something. Finally, Muslim League could agree to not the division of the country. So this is how things were going on in the Bhulabhai Desai Liaqat Pact. Nothing much in it, but how it is linked to the Quit India movement, that is very important to remember. Now, we see everyone is talking. Mr. C Rajagopalachari is talking. Mr. Bhulabhai Desai is talking. So how can Gandhi be behind? Gandhi loves to talk. But before I tell you regarding Gandhi, that what he talked and to whom he talked, your question should be that in this lecture we have been discussing the direct outcomes, or rather what happened of the people who were not jailed in Quit India movement, but Gandhi was in jail. So what happens that Gandhi is released from the jail on 5th May 1944. Now, when he comes out of the jail, just to remember, of course, he did not think like this, that if everyone is talking, I should also be talking. But he said that because all efforts around were failing. And what Gandhi did was not his original plan actually. He goes, he sees, he knows that what is happening outside the jail when he's in the jail. He's observing what is Mr. CR up to and what is Mr. Desai up to. So he comes to hear of this C Rajagopalachari Plan, and he also comes to know of the Jinnah's actions about it. Now, Gandhi gets up and talks to Jinnah. He says, okay, let me try and talk to Jinnah. So these talks have been named in history as Gandhi-Jinnah talks. And they are of prime importance in the events that led to the partition of the country, because the failure of these talks, yes, these talks failed. The failure of these talks was the last straw on the camel's back. It was the last point after which everything breaks apart. The partition happens. Jinnah gets firmer on his demand of Pakistan. And but what was that Gandhi talk to Jinnah? That is our topic now when I talk to you about the Gandhi and Jinnah talks. Okay, so the basis of his talk was that same as the C Rajagopalachari plan. In fact, he takes the C Rajagopalachari plan only to Jinnah and talks about it, because now Gandhi is also saying that Japanese are attacking us. Japanese attack us, then who will save us? We need to have some control. Otherwise, today we are under the Britishers, tomorrow we will be under the control of the Japanese. So these talks started, and Jinnah said, Jinnah, see, there were letters after letters exchanged between Gandhi and Jinnah, and in person talks were there. In a very short while, you will also see the videos and Gandhi Jinnah talks in action. Gandhi going to Jinnah's place, Jinnah meeting Gandhi, and so on. So, Jinnah rejects the CR formula. He said that separation of the country or the partition of the country, it cannot be deferred till the independence. Jinnah was very firm that I want partition right now, today. And he said that same objections that Jinnah cited earlier. He said that the common services, this is utter nonsense, I don't want it. He said that in plebiscite, only Muslims should vote, because only Muslims have the inherent right of self-determination. If Muslims have the right of self-determination, then why will Hindus vote? So he had issue on the voting also. So these were the one of few reasons because of which Gandhi-Jinnah talks failed. And Gandhi plainly disagreed that Muslims in India constitute a different nation. Gandhi did not agree to the idea. In fact, the majority of the Muslims did not. It was in those areas, because if you see the population of the Muslims today, that is much more in India than Pakistan. That clearly shows that Muslims did not think of India themselves as a separate nation from India, because Gandhi regarded India as one family. So Gandhian view was in opposition to the view of Jinnah regarding the partition. Now, Gandhi saw that Jinnah is not agreeing. So he said that okay, fine, Muslims can live in a separate state from the rest of India. They can form a new state, but for that, only the Muslims living in Baluchistan, Sindh, and Northwest Frontier Province, and only certain parts of Punjab, Bengal, and Assam should be allowed to vote. But Jinnah did not agree to this. He said that I will agree only, Jinnah, in opposition to this, he said, I will agree only to the 1940 resolution passed by Muslim League, the demands as per those, that he does not want what is called as Moth-Eaten Pakistan. Now, this is a very typical phrase. I'll explain this phrase to you after the explanation of Gandhiji's efforts within Gandhi Jinnah talks. And Gandhi's efforts, Gandhi proposed so many things one by one, the same as C Rajagopalachari did to Jinnah, and Jinnah kept on rejecting them. For example, Gandhi said that because there are certain common central lifelines for a country, for example, foreign affairs and communication, these should be kept common. But Jinnah was adamant and he totally refused to it. He said, I will agree only to the 1940 resolution by the Muslim League. So we now see that the talks have been unsuccessful here, and the conclusion of the talk was that Gandhi called it adjournment sine die. He called it adjournment sine die. Now, that he said that the conclusion has not been reached, but it does not mean that the talks have been totally cancelled. Gandhi still tried to keep the hopes alive. So this was about the Gandhi Jinnah plan. And yeah, regarding that term, moth-eaten Pakistan. What is this word moth-eaten Pakistan? Actually, this term was originally given by Alma Mashriq. There was a person called Alma Mashriq. Now, this person also wanted to divide India. Actually, he did not want to divide India. He said that the only rightful rulers of Hindustan are the Muslims. And he wanted a Pakistan which started from Karachi and went right up to Calcutta. Karachi to Calcutta was the vision of Alma Mashriq. And Alma Mashriq was put behind the bars. His organization was declared illegal in 1940. And his organization, his movement actually, that was called Khaksar. 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 This Khaksar movement, it was also declared illegal and so on. So he did not accept the Jinnah also. There were differences again between Jinnah and Alma Mashriq. And he did not agree to the Mountbatten Plan also, I mean Alma Mashriq. So he used this word again when Mountbatten gave him divided Pakistan. He said, I do not want this moth-eaten Pakistan. So that is the history of the word. Now, here is a small video that you can watch. It will show you history in action, the real footage of that time regarding Gandhi-Jinnah talks.
On May 6, 1944, India heaved a sigh of relief on Gandhi's sudden and unconditional release on medical grounds. On May 11th, Gandhi once again arrived at Juhu to sojourn at Gandhi Gram and entered on a fortnight's silence to ensure uninterrupted rest. Every evening, people of all shades crowded on the beach to attend Gandhi's congregational prayer, which he considered to be the greatest binding force maintaining the oneness of the human family. At a special request, Gandhi gave autographs in 10 scripts: Devanagari, Roman, Gujarati, Persian, Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu, Bengali, and Oriya. If only I had the time, he remarked. I have energy enough to learn more Indian languages. He went to Jinnah's house on September 9th, 1944, as a seeker of light for establishing living peace. The 18-day talks never converged, but ran a parallel course and broke down. The cleavage was on the cardinal issue of the two-nation theory. Gandhi had no sense of disappointment or despondency, though the talks did not prove fruitful.
Now, just to give you the quick summary of the things that we have done so far, we read about Quit India movement, right? And out of that Quit India movement, there are to be reactions to come. There would be reactions. These reactions, when Quit India movement failed, would be by the Indians and by the British. Some of these reactions, in fact, the main reactions that are important for us to know. For example, the nature's reaction. I'm just trying to help you remember the things. The CR plan and Gandhi-Jinnah talks and Desai-Liaqat Pact. So these four things have been covered in this lecture. And regarding the remaining part, as which happened after the failure of the Quit India mission or movement, the from the British side came what is known as Wavell's plan, and this will be the topic for the next lecture. Right now, please do remember this chart. It will help you memorize things very easily. You can draw this chart in your copy in a better manner. Just pause the video here and then you can try to think over it. What have you learned in this video so far? And now, before you go, make sure that you do share this video with others, because it's through your shares that we get the motivation to make even better videos. You must have seen the videos keep on improving with every proceeding video now. And if you like the video, do not forget to click on this like button over here. And if you want these videos to come in your email box, then you will need to subscribe to us, and that you can do by clicking here on this button. So that is all, and thank you so much for watching this video.